Welcome, welcome, welcome. Where are you joining us from today? Drop in. Good to see you, Matthias. Drop in where you're joining us today in the chat. Love to see you. You're looking amazing, whatever time of day it is in your world. So grateful. Amazing. We are so blessed today to have the amazing Matt Hall to share some of his incredible experience in building internationally. He has been doing this stretch since he was how old? I don't even know, Matt. So we're so excited that you were willing to share this piece and your experience with us. As you know, he is US Founder 2.0, Brazilian founder, and also Double Diamond. He leads leaders from around the world and he finds leaders around the world. And we are so excited to hear from him today. Matt, thank you for who you are. Take it away.
Wow. Thanks, Natalie. Guys, I didn't expect so many amazing faces. This is crazy. Yeah, I'm excited to share some insights today on recruiting and building teams
See if we can keep up with these
internationally.
crowds.
Can you
It's
guys hear me?
amazing.
Natalie, can you guys hear me? Yeah?
Okay,
Yeah, you guys can hear me. Okay.
there we go.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm excited to share some insights today and help you guys launch a team internationally if you have ever had that desire. The blueprint that I'm going to share with you today is actually super duplicatable, and I'm going to be using the example of Indonesia in our conversation today because we have several friends on this call who are already actively building a team in Indonesia. And it's one of the markets that doTERRA has been preparing to open. They have so much ready to launch, and it's a huge opportunity. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But the principles that I'm going to share and the strategy that I'm going to share with you today are relevant and valid for any country, any city. Like if you just wanted to launch your team in a different city, a neighbor city or a neighbor state in the country that you live in, then these principles will apply. And I think I'm going to bring a perspective and some behind the scenes that maybe you've never seen before or never contemplated before. So I'm really, really excited to share this with you. Some of my intentions are that if you choose to take action with the very simple concept and outline that I'm going to share with you today, that by the end of May, you will have a personally enrolled elite in another country. Okay. The country of your choosing, maybe Indonesia. Hopefully, we can recruit many of you to the cause of building in Indonesia with us. And then by the end of the summer, that you've helped that elite become a silver. So imagine the difference that it would make for your team if you had a personally enrolled silver in Turkey or in Indonesia or somewhere else in the world. And I look at some of the leaders who are on this call, like the Goddards, and I think one of the most amazing things is when they go to bed and they're sleeping at night, their team is still working in other countries, right? It's not like their whole team goes to sleep at the same time. On a BOGO month, like they probably don't see the same, they probably see a spike, with US BOGOs, and a lot of the world's BOGOs happen in the same month, but they see spikes, during different months than maybe some of you because Russia is having a spike with an awesome promotion or run or diamond club or something during these months, and then another country. And so that diversity, personally, I have always found super attractive, and it was always my biggest dream and desire for my business. Okay, was to just build an international team. Also, I hope to strip away some of the misconceptions with building a team internationally. I think a lot of times people believe that they put all of these limiting beliefs in their minds where they say like, oh, well, if I'm not there in person, then it's never going to grow. And, I have an amazing, I don't know if she's on this call, but I have an amazing personally enrolled diamond leader. I see Marco on the call. So I'm about to talk about Marco's upline Yada, who joined us virtually very, I don't know, what has it been? 7 years, 8 years, Marco? I'm not sure how many years it's been, but several years ago, and it was more early on in our growth, our rank advancement. 8 years in July, love it. So she joined when we were platinum in doTERRA and actually helped us go diamond, but we didn't physically go to Italy until she had reached the level of gold. And so sometimes you hear, okay, Indonesia, that means I'm going to have to invest a ton of money to go to Indonesia and build a team in person, right away. That's just not the case. You can actually do a lot virtually. The more you can be on the ground in person, the better. But there are no limitations. So just, buy into this crazy idea that there are no limitations on what you can do and what you can build in your business. Okay, let me share my screen here, and I'm going to take you guys through some of these tips. Oops. We want slideshow. I gotta get this out of here. Okay. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, really quick, my name is Matt. I've been building doTERRA for 12 years now. We have personally enrolled diamonds in 6 different countries at this point. So we've done this successfully. It's not just that, we got lucky and there's a team of ours that exploded in, super down deep in our organization in one team. What I'm about to teach you is a super replicatable, duplicatable system for you to recruit and find leaders all around the world. Um, I'm gonna use the example of Indonesia, and this is going to kind of be a case study almost publicly. I don't know if we'll repeat this Zoom and give an update, but I want to document for you guys and show you exactly what I'm doing right now to start a team from zero in Indonesia. And when I say from zero, I mean from zero. Like I don't have one enrollment right now that's building the business in Indonesia. We have a few customers, but what is the process that I go through of going from absolutely no one to building a successful team? And I fully believe that in the next, anyway, in the next several months, we'll have a personally enrolled silver, and then that will continue to grow. Once again, for those of you, I know a lot of people have just hopped on in the last few minutes. What I'm about to teach you, you can replicate across anywhere in the world. Even if, let's say, you live in Germany and you really want to have a team in the northern part of Germany, then you could use these same ideas to get started there. Okay. All right. So first of all, let's talk about fire. Fire, you can build a fire in different ways, many different ways, a myriad of different ways, right? And I find that when people try to recruit and start a new team in doTERRA, the most common method is to take a big log and to try to set it on fire. So you have one person and you're so committed that it's going to be that one person that's going to be your leader in that country or in that place. And everything is like pivotal. If this one log doesn't catch fire, then you will never build a team in that place or with, in that region. And sometimes it works. Sometimes you get a log and it just happens that they've been soaking in gasoline. So they're just like, they want it so badly, they're ready to run. And so that log sets fire and you end up, bringing other people in and you build a big bonfire. That's one way to do it, but it's not, it's more of a way that's dependent on luck, not skill. So I want to teach you a skill set today that will allow you to stack your results in your favor and build. Well, I'm going to focus on this kind of cabin, this log cabin type fire structure. It probably has an official name. TP fires, you can build as well. But we're going to talk about stacking things strategically in a way and recruiting strategically so that you can really build a fire that just takes, it goes from zero to elite basically in 1 month in a different country. So again, I told you I was going to do a little more storytelling and documenting what I'm actually doing than than anything else. I guess one more principle that's important for me to lay the groundwork for this conversation is there is an aspect of luck in what we do in doTERRA. And I don't think any big leader in doTERRA would deny that. There are skills that we develop, but I had a presidential diamond on my team teach me once that luck is always passing like way up here above your head, right? And if you're sitting down, then you can't reach it. You can't reach the luck. You'll never get lucky if you're stagnant, if you're not moving. However, if you're standing and you're constantly moving and you're constantly grabbing, then as luck passes over, eventually you're going to get lucky and you're going to grab that luck and find, and that's the case, in doTERRA with leaders. We can't necessarily fabricate leaders. You can build people into leaders. You can also get lucky, right, and find leaders, but you can only get lucky if you're actively moving. And so that's what I want to show you that I'm doing personally in Indonesia right now, and maybe you can do the same thing. So first thing, I just posted this morning, and this is going to be your first assignment. Okay, your first assignment. I'm going to give you a few assignments today. If you want to build a team in Indonesia or anywhere in the world, your first assignment is you're going to do a post like this that says, "Do any of my friends have connections in Indonesia?" Or, name the country that you want to build in, or the city or the state. I need to interview a couple people living there currently. I will pay for their time. Okay. Now, stage one for me, when I look at launching into a new country, is I need to know everything possible about that market. I need to know the geography. I want to know the culture. I want to know the customs. I want to know the religion. I want to fall in love with the place. Okay. This is the same if it's a different state or a different city, right? Like how does this city, how is it different than the city that you live in? Or how is that certain state? How is Texas different than Utah? What are the different customs? How do they speak differently? What are they attracted to? Right. And obviously there's going to be a lot of different answers to that, but there are some general answers that will help you in building the business. And I say this because I think the first step to building a team internationally is you want to fall in love with the people in the country. Why did I build such a big team in Brazil? How did I do that? Part of it is my passion and my love for that country and those people led me to be willing to work for years without seeing any fruits from my labor, right? I was willing to just, I was willing to dedicate basically 7 years of my doTERRA build exclusively to working in that market. And it was because I loved, and I did it without seeing significant growth for the first 2 or 3 years. But I loved the people. I loved the place. It's a place that I knew I would love to go back to over and over and over and over and over again. When we started building a team in India, why did I take my family and go there for a month with my kids and travel around the whole country? Because we wanted to fall in love. I needed to fall in love with the country. I knew that if I wanted to build a successful business and team in India, I had to love the place, right? And so we took our kids, we had an amazing experience. Now when I get on a Zoom call with somebody who's from India, I can say, you know what? My kids ask me to this day to make them jalebis, right? Some of you on this call, most of you probably don't even know what jalebis are, but it's this Indian treat that they bake and they eat it and it's sweet and it's delicious. And I immediately create connection points with people that I'm having conversations with because they can see how invested I am in their country. I can say, oh, I've been to Pune, I've been to Punjab, I've been to the Northeast, I've been to the South, I've been all over India, right? And you don't necessarily have to do what I did and go to the place to fall in love with it, right? You can fall in love with it virtually, but you need to understand it. So the first step is you're going to learn as much as you possibly can about that country. And I've learned that all business and our business is conversation. If you're having conversations, then you are going to find builders. And oftentimes I think that we jump way too fast to the conversation of people actually building a business with us instead of focusing on just building relationships and building networks and building that, cabin structure for the fire to turn into a bonfire. So this is your first assignment. Second assignment, you're going to go into Facebook and you're going to search my friends that live, or my friends from Indonesia. If you do that right now, if you type into your Facebook search, my friends that live in Indonesia, Facebook will pull up a list of the people that live in Indonesia. If you type in my friends that live in the UK, Facebook will pull up a list of people that live in the UK. If you type in my friends that live in Germany, right, the same thing will apply. And I did this just a couple days ago, and one person popped up. Okay. I had one friend from Indonesia. That friend um, is someone who I met while we were living in Hong Kong. Okay. And literally haven't talked, I haven't had a conversation with this woman for like a decade. Nothing, no conversation, totally cold contact. And I'd only met her maybe 2 or 3 times, but I have the habit of always adding people as a friend or connecting with them on Instagram or whatever. Um, oh, I
Oh,
can
I
hear
can hear.
myself. We have an echo. Okay. So here's what I said. And I'm going to give you guys exact conversations because I want you to see that you can do this. And I want you to see how simple this can be for you to start building a team internationally. Okay. So I said, you're from Indonesia, correct? I said her name. I'm going to keep that private. And I said, you're from Indonesia, correct? She said, hi, yes. And I said, wondering if you're willing, if I could pay you $30 for a chat about the country. We're expanding our business there, and I have a lot of questions about the country that I think only someone from there could answer. Or maybe you could refer me to someone I could ask. Okay, so super light, non-pressure. I'm not trying to recruit her to doTERRA. My goal is to understand this country. My goal, my position is as I walk people through 3 phases of recruiting anyone. Phase one is fan. You want to be their fan or the country's fan, right? So phase one is fan. Phase two is friendship. Phase three is partnership. Okay. So I'm positioning myself as a fan. I want to know as much as I can about your country. I need to understand your country if I'm going to build a successful business there. She says, yes, you can ask me. What exactly are you wanting to know? If it's something I can help you with, then I will. And if not, I will try to refer you to someone that can help. I said, awesome, thank you. I'll compile a list tomorrow, right? I want her to understand I'm going to have a big list. Like this is something I really want to know as much as I can. Would you be open to a Zoom chat? I want to build a deeper relationship as fast as possible. So I'm not just going to type in my questions. No, I need a Zoom conversation so I can do follow-up questions, right? I can work around your schedule and PayPal or Venmo you for your time. So again, I'm reinforcing the fact, hey, there's going to be an exchange of value here. I'm not the kind of person who's just going to try to extract value from you. From the very beginning, no, I'm going to give you value. Now, did it have to be $30? No. For half an hour, you could offer someone $10 and they would be thrilled, right? It doesn't have to be a large amount of money. Then she said, yes, we can do Zoom. I can do tomorrow. Let me see if as soon as you offer money, right? People are like, it's not going to be next week. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. If I can help you and then we can talk about if payment is needed. I love that. This is a good signal for me. This is showing me she only expects an exchange of value if I feel like it's actually brought benefit to me, right? So what times work? We set up a time, then we do a call. All right. Now on this call, what did I do? What did I do? And I apologize. I could have, prepped better slides and have everything written out for you, but hopefully you're taking notes. I asked her as much as I could possibly think of about Indonesia. I asked her about the languages. I said, "Hey, if I'm gonna be working in this market, what percentage of the people would you say speak English? Because I'm gonna need a leader, and I'm already planting the seed in her mind, right? I'm saying I'm gonna need a leader that speaks English. You speak English, but how many people in Indonesia speak English?" She says, "Oh, I don't know, maybe 20% of the people." And I said, "Okay, great. That's super helpful. What other languages would you say are the most important for communicating in the market?" So she tells me about Java and Javanese, and I ask her about regions. I say, if you were me, give her a little context. I'm not presenting our products to her, but I'm talking about we have these natural solutions, we have these supplements. If you were me, where would you start geographically? Where would you focus? Oh, she said Bali, Jakarta, East Java, where she's from, right? Obviously, where she's from, that's a great sign for me. Wow, she's already thinking that in her region, people could love what we have to share. Then I ask her about, promotion strategies. If if it were her launching in this market, what would she do to promote the products? Why am I asking her this question? Because I don't know what to do? No, guys, I know exactly what to do. But I want her to visualize. Visualization is powerful. I want her to visualize, what would I do if I were to build a business in Indonesia? She said, I would use Instagram and I would use TikTok. TikTok is the number one social media platform in Indonesia right now. Wow, that's great feedback. I don't use TikTok today, hardly at all. That's really important for me to know. Um, she said, and I would definitely incorporate in my social media a lot of slang. And I'm thinking, what? Like, why is that important? But I was like, okay, can you compile a list for me of like the 10 most important like slang phrases for me to start learning so that people can identify with me and see that I'm invested in their country, right? And she's going to think, wow, this Matt guy, like he really cares about my country. He wants to learn my language, right? Do you see how all of this starts to prepare for a recruitment, right? For me recruiting her. Okay. Then I say, okay, tell me about the islands. I know there's so many islands. And she says, yeah, every island is its own culture, right? Every island is its own culture. And anyway, so I'm getting kind of deep into this, but that's how the conversation went. At the end, do I pitch her on doTERRA? No, no, because I'm here because I'm trying to learn as much as I can as the country. I'm still an interviewer. I'm still a fan. I'm not a friend yet. Friend has to come before the partnership, right? So one of the core aspects of friendship and connection in our world is is building a network, connecting people with others, right? So I ask her, I say, okay, I need your help. I need to interview more people about your country because there's a lot more questions I have. And I'd love to talk with someone who's living in Indonesia right now. She's been out of Indonesia for like a decade, right? So I say, I really want to understand Indonesia from the mindset of someone who's living there right now. Who would you say is the person that you know who is like the most influential or the most charismatic or would be really good at sales? Or who do you know who maybe would love to learn about natural products that already likes this kind of thing, these category of products, right? She sat there for a minute. So I'm not asking for a referral to buy. She would never, ever give me a referral if I was asking for her to refer someone to build the business with me or to buy our products. Understand the psychology here, right? I'm saying, I just want to learn and I'm willing to pay this person for their time, right? I'll pay them $10 for a 30-minute conversation. Who do you know? Who do you know that falls into these different categories, right? So then she connects me, she sends me two profiles here. And so here's what happened. So I sent her the $30. I said, thank you for the call. I have not pitched her on joining doTERRA yet at all. She said, good morning. Sorry, I haven't heard anything from my friends, but I will just give you some of my friends' contacts and you can reach out to them. Would that be okay? When was the last time that you actually got a referral in your doTERRA business? Like you probably ask for referrals a lot, but how often do you get them? If you're not getting them, then maybe try to do it like this. Okay, a little softer approach. Okay. Then she comes back the next day. She says, I already asked him and he said yes. And I said, amazing, thank you. I'll write him tomorrow. She said, I have another person too. And she sent me their profile and also their WhatsApp number. And she said he lives in Bali. So she gave me one person that lives in Jakarta, one person that lives in Bali. All right, next phase. Have I recruited her? Has she bought a kit? No, no. My goal is to build a team on paper. Okay. I'm going to build a team before I ever even do a doTERRA presentation. I want 20 people ready to buy. I want to launch. I want to build the structure of my fire, that cabin, that log cabin. I'm going to build it first. And then 2 weeks from now, when I do the first Zoom and I'm inviting a network of 20, 30 people onto this Zoom that I didn't know any of them before, this girl might hit elite before she even understands what doTERRA is, right? So again, this is a strategy that only works if you're willing to work. If you're a lazy leader or a retired leader, this is not the call for you. Okay, this is not the call for you. Okay, so then I do approach her. She's given me two referrals. So now I'm going to refer. Now we've have a little bit more friendship. She's connected me into her network, right? So now I'm going to plant the seed for a partnership. Thank you again. Would you and your husband be interested in learning more about what it looks like to help us with the launch there. I'm going in June with our company's incentive trip and also to do a few events in Jakarta and Bali. If you guys were interested, I'd love to fly you over to Utah to our headquarters and give you a full introduction to everything. Let me know if we can chat more if you'd like, and we can chat more if you'd like. Excited to see what happens in Indonesia. So I understand this part right here. This is why I think we mostly have like diamonds on this call. This part might not be super duplicatable to fly them to headquarters, right? But they live in a different state here in the US. It's not that expensive, maybe $200 or $300 for me to fly them here and give them an immersive introduction through Experienced doTERRA, right? So I'm basically planning to invite them to Experienced doTERRA. She asked me more, what would that look like to launch? She can't leave the US because of her green card is still pending. And I say, that's no problem. We can basically do this online. I'm happy to explain more and we'll set up a call to talk more. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to get her on a call one-on-one to talk about the business yet. I'm going to build my fire. So I want to invite her to a call where I'm also inviting her two friends that she referred me to, and I'm also inviting two friends that they referred me to that I've already interviewed about the country. And I want to invite a team onto this Zoom, this launch Zoom. Okay, kind of wild, right? Definitely a different approach. So here's how I approached the people that she was connecting me to. Okay. Hi, Daniel. I got your profile from Rizkiana. She said you might be able to help me with some questions about Indonesia. We're launching our business there, and I need some advice from someone on the ground. I'd be willing to pay you for a half an hour conversation on Zoom. He says, great, yeah, let's do that. She mentioned it to me, so she's already made the connection for me. When can we have this conversation? I'm flying back from Brazil right now. I can't do it immediately. He wants it like right now. Look at how fun it is. These people love talking about where they're from. They love it. They love it. So I say, okay, give me, right now, but tomorrow I'll send you some time options. We set up a time. I fly home. We get on a call. Okay, let me see it. Let me just move this out of the way so I can read this. All right. So I actually took a couple days to get back to him. I'm not urgent. I'm not, it's going to be okay. I'm not going to show desperation. Have Easter weekend. Then we set up a call. I just had a call with him on Monday, right? Yesterday. On this call, what do I do? What do I do? The same thing I did in the last call. And I get totally different answers. So I'm asking him all about the country, the geography, the language, the culture, the food. If he were doing an event, what hotel would he do it at? If he were in his city, like what would be the best hotel to do a big event? What's the largest, one of my favorite questions, what's the largest stadium in Indonesia? Because we're going to fill it. We're going to fill it full of people. We're going to get it full of people who are passionate and excited about these products. I'm casting a vision for these people, right? I'm getting them bought into this crazy idea that we're going to dominate the entire country. You feel the energy in my voice? Like, don't you want to be a part of it? Okay, so I do the same interview with him. Guess what? This guy has actually been a customer service rep for another direct selling company. Ooh, oh my goodness, he's going to have some great contacts. He's going to have some great contacts. So I ask him, like, who do you think would be the best person for me to talk to next about Indonesia as a market? He refers me to a corporate guy who's a part of another direct selling company, like an actual direct selling company, not really a network marketing company. And he says, I've worked for this guy in the past. He would definitely be able to help you. Now, am I going to be able to recruit this guy who's a corporate guy in this other direct selling company? I have no idea. I think so. I think so. But if not, that's okay. I'm going to continue the conversation. I'll show you my conversation with that guy here in a minute. Okay. So we set up a call. By the end, I pay him $10 or whatever it was. And he says, by the way, if your business operates in Indonesia, I'd love to work at your business company in an office role, right? I say, great, that's great. I can definitely talk to them about that. And I'd love the opportunity to share more about what we're doing with the business, right? So I'm not pitching him on building the business with me yet. He's just a source of contacts. Now, remember, every person in our business, see them as a doorway, not a destination. Stop being so desperate. Stop seeing somebody as just the big log that you want that big log to catch on fire. No, build your fire. Build the log cabin. And then once I invite, imagine if I network my way into a list of 30 or 40 people. I get them all on a Zoom. I enroll 5 or 6 of them, right? And then I go to the person who referred them and I said, guess what? You already have 2 people that have joined. Do you want to join the business? Buy a kit. I'm not buying a kit for anyone. I'm not investing a penny outside of what I'm just paying for these conversations. Does that make sense? Okay. I am not looking at the chat. Uh, maybe, hopefully there's not questions.
Matt, I'll pop in if there's any questions. You rock. You're gold.
Okay. All right. Guys, we are network marketers. That's all we do. We just work through networks. This is not hard. It's not a hard thing to do, right? What I'm pitching you on here. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm going to also invite him to the Zoom when we do it in a couple weeks. This is my chat with the direct selling guy. Like he's like one of the top corporate guys for a direct selling company. I write him. He immediately responds. Okay, this was on Monday. This was yesterday. Yesterday, he responded to me. This is live. This is like I'm showing you guys how I'm building a team in Indonesia from nothing. I have 0 builders there right now. Okay, he says, yes, we can chat. You don't have to pay me to chat. I'm happy to share my experience in developing direct selling market in Indonesia. And I say, oh, is it too late for you now? Because by the time I'm writing him, it's 11 p.m. But I want it now, right? I want it now. So this guy's good. So I want to show him that I'm going to show up no matter what time of the day. I'm present. I want to lock him in. So I said, we can schedule a better time. I'm flexible. He says, yes, you can call me now. And I say, is Zoom possible? We get on a Zoom call. What do? I do the same thing. I interview this guy about direct selling in his country. What's the general feeling? Do people like direct selling? What are the companies that are growing the most? What are they doing that you see from the corporate side that really helps them to thrive and grow and progress? Like why is Herbalife doing so amazing? Why has Amway done so amazing? Why are they doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales per year in this market? Tell me more, right? Okay, he sees that I'm committed to his market. I tell him I'm going to fly there in June. I don't have anybody, but I'm coming in June, right? That shows him, wow, this guy's crazy. This guy might be worth partnering with. Okay. The other contact that I got from my original contact was Joshua. I hope this is kind of fun to take you guys behind the scenes. I'm showing you literally what I do, right? And how I talk to people. Maybe it seems oversimplified, but you know, simplicity is what brings success. It's all in the conversation. So I basically said, hey, your friend said that you'd be willing to help me out with some questions about Indonesia. We're launching our business there and I need some advice from someone on the ground. I'd be willing to pay you for a half an hour conversation on Zoom. Hi, Matt. Yes, I'm happy to help. When would you like to make the Zoom call? We scheduled a Zoom call. Okay, we get on the Zoom call. On the Zoom call, this guy refers me to, he mentions 2 people. He said, when I say like, who do you know who would just be amazing at promoting a company like this? Guess who the first person he says is? Sometimes people will say, me, sign me up, right? How can I get started? I'm never gonna go that fast straight into them. I want to create curiosity. I want attraction. Our business is posture, right? When you have a strong posture, you attract them to you. When you're desperate, you repel them, no matter what, no matter how enticing what your offer is, if you're just overbearing, you're going to repel them. So, but he comes to me and he says, my wife. He says, my wife would be amazing at this. Now, I know secretly from the energy that I'm getting from him, because I'm a little bit telepathic, I can tell that it's actually him. Like he wants this. He wants this. Okay. But I'm not going to recruit him immediately. Why? I probably could. I could probably convince him to buy a kit and to start sharing with people. But why don't I? I want to guarantee his results. I want to build the fire. I want to build a few more logs. I want to network my way into 5 or 6 of his relationships. And I want to have quick 20-minute conversations with them, interviewing them about the country. And then when we get on a Zoom, I have 5 to 10 of his prospects on my call where he can see that some of them are engaged and excited about this. right? We're going to build a bonfire. We're not going to start with one log and try to see if that log catches fire. No, I'm going to guarantee a bonfire. Okay. He says, I'm excited to talk again. Or I say, I'm excited to talk again. Do you think you could ask your wife if she'd be willing and open to learn more about the business? I'd love to do a Zoom to present you to. Truthfully, I'm going to do a Zoom presenting to like 30 people. So they're going to hop on the Zoom and they're going to be like, what? He said he doesn't have anyone. And I'm going to say, I don't have anyone. These are just people who are interested in what we're doing. Okay. All right. This is the concept, right? Build a fire before, like this. Build it out. Fill your network with contacts. Fill your first Zoom with a bunch of prospects who have invited prospects, who have invited prospects, who have invited prospects. And it might be that, 5 people join. It might be that the first person that I talk to never joins the business. But because of one person that I connected with, that I didn't even really have a relationship with, to be honest, but I was able to network my way into conversations through this interviewer strategy, being a fan of the country. I'm building a list. Okay. I'm hoping that in the next 2 days, or in the next like week to 2 weeks, I'm hoping that I can build a list of 100 people. We talk to people about, hey, build a list of 100 people, right? Um, well, sometimes you just need to build a new list of 100 people. And it doesn't have to take you that long. I'm already at 8 people. Okay. 8 people. And it pretty much happened from like 6 of those came in yesterday. Right? So can I, over the next couple weeks, can I build this list to 100 people and then invite all of those people onto a Zoom, get 30 or 40 of them on a Zoom, show them the vision, show them my enthusiasm, tell them I'm coming in June? Could I build an elite in the next 30 days through that Zoom? I think so. I think so. Do you see how simple this is? This is simple, my friends. Could I help someone get to silver then? Could I going there in June? And if you might not be going in June. We're doing some corporate events every month. doTERRA is organizing some events together with leaders that are building in Indonesia, and they're helping to invest in the launch of this market. Um, so if you can't be there, that's fine. You invite your people to the events that are happening. If you can be there, I'd recommend going as soon as you can. Get on the ground. And I'm going to share with you guys a couple more strategies here, then we'll just open it up for questions and talk about Indonesia specifically. But here's another one. Here's your that was strategy number one. That was the first surefire way to build a team in Indonesia. Second way is for you to go to your existing team and ask them, who do you know that lives in Indonesia? Who do you know? And again, it's not who do you know so I can recruit people in that market. It's who do you know so I can interview them. It's the same thing that I've showed you for the last 40 minutes on this call, but you're going to your existing network, your team, right? You might not be friends with anyone on Facebook that knows people in Indonesia. So do that post, the first assignment, which I shared with you. Maybe you'll get some referrals that way. Go into your team. If you have 1,000 people on your team, I guarantee you that there's at least 20 people that have some kind of connection with someone that served a mission in Indonesia or spent 6 months there, right? So this is an example of a guy who also has not joined yet, but I fully believe will join my business. And he was a referral from one of my top leaders, Bruno. He knows this guy from Indonesia that lived in Texas. They worked in a company together in the past, Crossline Friends in another company. And this guy would be amazing. And so we've talked to him about the market. He's got some products already, as you can see, that he's using and trying. So this is another way. Work through your team. Another strategy, I saw that my mom was here on this call. So I don't know if she's still here, but our first ever enrollment in India, how did it happen? It happened because my mom went to India as a tourist. She went there as a tourist, okay? And our first ever enrollment was her tour guide in India. She says, I'm here. Awesome. So she enrolls her tour guide. This tour guide to be honest, was not the guy. Like he did not build the business, did not have success, but through him, we networked and found a lot of people, right? And now there's a team of thousands of people in India. We have multiple founders in the market there. And so that's another strategy is go to the country or go to the state or go to the city, network, meet as many people as you can, make a connection, talk to them about what you do, get their contact info, talk to them, and then get on a call with them after the fact and interview them about their country, interview them about their city, about their state, understand everything about where they are. So strategy number one, who are your friends that are in India or in any country, right? Build the network, be the interviewer, go through the work to build a list of contacts, build a fire before it gets started. Number two, go to your existing team and say, hey, who do you know in Indonesia? Number three, go yourself to wherever you want to build a team. Go there as a tourist, have fun. Just make a few strategic connections. And remember that it doesn't matter if they never build a business because we are networkers. We network through people. We drive lines. Okay. This is actively what I do. I don't run any ads. I don't run any paid ads right now. I've done it in the past. I've enrolled hundreds of people around the world through automated processes, and the retention's terrible. I build relationships. I have conversations. Conversations and relationships will take you anywhere that you want to go in doTERRA. So I'd love to open it up for any questions about what I've shared or about any other aspect, and then we'll go maybe into the conversation about Indonesia specifically, because guys, it's so much more fun when we work in a market together. Like imagine if we have 100 people on this call. Imagine if like 40 of you in the next 30 days had a personally enrolled elite in Indonesia. That would be so wild. That'd be so amazing. Imagine if all 100 people here had a personally enrolled silver in Indonesia by October, which is our goal for the market. Is we have a certain metric that we're trying to reach with corporate in sales so that they'll open this market. Anyway, I think it'd be so fun. And who wouldn't want to go to Bali together as a doTERRA family? I think that sounds amazing.
Matt,
Okay.
I want to ask one right out the gates before we hit the chat. You
Yeah.
talked about Bruno sharing with you a prospect. I think sometimes when we start building internationally, we're like, wait, I got to hold on to this. How would you handle that situation from a contact that someone on your team gave you, just so they can see that, how you keep them involved or how you help them feel safe in the process?
Oh, yeah, of course, guys. If that person signs up, he's of course going under Bruno on Bruno's team. Not only that, but Bruno will participate in the entire conversation. So Bruno's more focused on building in Brazil. But what I do is I just keep him up to date. So every time I ever send Tio a message, which is this other guy, I update Bruno. And what happens then? Even if we never recruit this guy, Bruno sees that I'm on his side. Like I'm working with him. I'm putting in effort to try to build his team almost not for him because he's out there building it himself, right? But with this specific contact, maybe he feels limited in his English, doesn't feel like he, can do it as well. And so I come in and I'm showing him, look, we're a partnership. I'm going to help you as much as I possibly can. So I just keep him plugged in to every conversation, help him understand what and how that is happening. So that's what I do there, Natalie.
Love that. Super wise.
Okay, so I'm seeing some questions in the chat. Then when you've recruited and you're starting to do classes online or in person, are you still traditionally teaching essential oils or foundational wellness? I'm assuming when doTERRA opens, they only bring the oils at first. So do you focus on that? I do. Everywhere in the world, I focus on the oils first. And then I don't know Indonesia specifically. I think the others will be able to answer more specifically what products are already registered because we already have a bunch of products registered. But I always start with the oils first. I feel like that's our differentiator, and it's the curiosity product where people are like, "What? Like, how does this work? How do these products work?" So I always start with the oils, and yeah, we'll just repeat. So once I start doing a Zoom, then I'll do a Zoom every week for like 4 weeks, and then after that, I immediately request that the leader starts being the presenter, I'm going to step away as fast as I possibly can from actively doing the teaching of a team and for their prospects so that we can develop leadership as fast as humanly possible. After you get everyone interviewed and invite them on the group Zoom, is that just a business opportunity call? It's both business and product. So yeah, I just do basically a natural solutions presentation with kind of why doTERRA, why now. If you take that presentation, that it's almost like a build guide and why doTERRA, why now introduction. So Drew had an amazing presentation on why doTERRA, why now, and I've just kind of taken that and put in the build guide with it. And but it's mostly product. It's mostly just the natural solutions guide. And I'm showing them, listen, like how many people in your country have respiratory problems? Imagine we can help them all. How many people in your country struggle with blood sugar or diabetes? Like we can help them all, right? And I just go crazy and cast a really, really big vision. Imagine the biggest stadium. That's my favorite. Like, and it's because I literally visualize every day. I visualize stadiums full of tens of thousands of people. And we've already done it here in the US. We can do it in these other countries too. Can we get the recording so I can share it with my team? Yep. Pete,
Anyway,
Pete said in India, I teach a Tuesday, 7 p.m. natural solutions and med power class every week, open to anyone. Pete is the man. Love you, brother. Thanks for all you do. Okay. Can you talk about structure with all these people? So the structure is simply the structure is going to happen in the order that they enroll in. So when I get these 40 people, let's say I have 40 people on a Zoom, then, obviously we have a period of time that we can enroll them. But my first priority is to enroll that first person that I talk to. And I'm going to honor them and say, listen, these 40 people all came because we had that first conversation and I just couldn't get enough. I went crazy and I was like, tell me more. Who can I talk to? Who can I talk to? And they started referring people. Can you see how this business is going to grow? You need to sign up and be the leader of this team. This is your team. This is your team. Buy your kid. Let's get you started. And so then I'm going to go to each one of them with that same energy. And I'm going to be like, hey, listen, like you've got a team here. There were 4 people that you referred to me that I've talked to and that were on the call. Like they might join. Let's get you in first. And we just structure it the way that they referred people. Now, if somebody comes back and says, nope, I'm not going to build this business, then guess what? I position them under the person that referred them. So I am sacred about honoring structure. Like people always will go through under the person that referred them, or if that person didn't join, under the person that referred that person, or if that person didn't join, under the person that referred them. I'm never going to take one of these people and pull them and put them on my front line. No matter how good they are, I don't care. I'm going to honor 100% the flow of referrals as it came into me. And that shows integrity from the start. It shows these leaders, these people, these prospects, they're not leaders, they're future leaders. It shows these prospects that I'm going to honor them and protect their business and operate in a safe and ethical way.
I think that's been critical to your success there. And I would say that's what turns it into wildfire is everybody feels safe and they can move forward, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jenny's asking about specific launch process for your builders in another country.
Yeah, specific launch process. If you go to YouTube and type in Matt Hall launch, you'll see 11 videos. That's the exact launch process that every single builder goes through with me. So it's basically, to summarize, it's basically the first video is why my expectations of them and their expectations of me, what they should expect. So we get things super clear. Number 2 is the basics, what it looks like to build a business. Number 3 is how to get your first sales in 24 hours after deciding you want to build a business. Then 4, 5, 6, 7, we go through then basically the planning of their first classes, their first events. I'm going to hop on virtually, on a screen for their first couple classes. We do the typical thing that I learned from Natalie. First class, I do everything they watch. Second class, it's half and half teaching. Third class, they're doing all the teaching. I'm helping with the close. Fourth class, they're doing everything and I'm just there to give feedback at the end. After that, I will never get on another intro presentation for them ever. Just kidding. Sometimes I will if they're like, we got a big deal, big thing. Sometimes I'll spice it up. But overall, I require independence very, very quickly. The last video in that series is exactly what they should do on social media for their first month. exactly what they should do to create great conversations. And all of those videos are generic. They're, all of them will always say, hey, go back to the person who invited you to doTERRA. So feel free to use that, share it if it's helpful. My YouTube link. So, and I actually have those already translated into Indonesian as well. So I have an Indonesian YouTube channel already up there, and Chinese and Spanish and, a bunch of different languages. But if you just type in Matt and Shante Hall, you'll find our English one. Matt and Shante Hall doTERRA. It'll pop up. Uh,
Matt, on that independence that you're requiring, then after that, you're spending your time and energy on three-way calls, right? Like you as a leader helping bring over bigger prospects, or what would you say your focus goes to?
Honestly, most of my focus just goes towards where's my next team? Where's my next enrollment? And then once a week mentoring, just like has been modeled to me, once a week mentoring with the core person. Even that eventually transitions to, twice a month or maybe once a month over the long term. Um, but yeah, most of my time then will be, I'll spend time in the group chat, maybe answering questions. Even that, I'm there for maybe a couple months, and then I kind of bow out or lessen my presence so that they can step up into their leadership. So yeah.
Love it. Super healthy. And there's the direct link there. Any other, Matt, one question above was like, hey, if I'm not ready to go international yet, can I use these same strategies in the US? Will they still work?
Of course. Yeah. You want to start a team in like South Carolina and you want to go to the beach every other month or every 3 months, like start a team in South Carolina. Why would you not? So you do the same thing. You go to your network and say, hey, who do I know in South Carolina? Right? You do the exact same thing. The exact same model applies. Um, super, super easy. Yeah. Any other questions before we talk Indonesia specifically? When interviewing people and they're excited about doing this now, do you let them know about a future event? Um, yeah. So if I'm never going to hold somebody back from enrolling. Like if they really want to enroll, then, it kind of messes up my process a little bit, but usually they're willing to wait a week. If I'm like, hey, in a week, we're going to do our first Zoom call for the team. And that's why like I throw a lot of energy into building that list for that event, as big as I can within a small time frame so that they don't have to wait too long and get cold, but also I can have enough people on the Zoom for them to be like, wow, this is like none of these people are enrolled, but there's 30 people here interested in listening to this gringo guy. So yeah. Yeah. So usually they're willing to wait a week to get signed up. Is the Indonesian briefing with Paul and Vanessa at 9 a.m.? Yeah, we'll just roll into that right now, I think. Uh,
And Matt, before we transition to that, you're seeing here in the chat, hey, are you open to a brain transfusion? And I hope that you can feel the one thing that Matt hasn't said that is critical in this process, right? He's told you all the other parts, but can you feel the part before all that is energy? And what he has done to prepare his energy and that excitement and transfer that vision. So, Matt, to give us more insight there, what would you add? What helps you stay in that place? Give us the brain transfusion now through this thought.
Yeah, I think I just love believing in big and ridiculous dreams and why not? Like why couldn't we? Indonesia has hundreds of millions of people. Like why could you not build a stadium? Like take your vision casting as big as it could possibly be. That should be what comes out of your mouth, right? And it's not in like a hypey way. I'm not going to go to someone and say, we're going to get you to $10,000 a month in earnings in the next 30 days. Like, I don't do any over promising, but the vision, people are drawn into a big vision. So if you can't dream big for yourself, if you can't dream big for your team, if you don't have that kind of energy when you're with one of your leaders, and you're saying, hey, you could dominate your city, you could dominate your state, everybody should be joining you, right? um, I think that you have to come at it with that mindset. And I actually have a video that I haven't published, but the idea behind it is, why should everyone in doTERRA join you? There's a reason why someone in Indonesia should join with you over joining with someone who lives there in the country, or over joining Natalie Goddard, or over joining me. And if you get really clear on why you are the perfect person for someone else, what are you willing to invest that others are not willing to, either with your time, your energy, or your resources? Maybe you don't have a lot of resources, but you're willing to give them time, right? You can definitely give people more time than I can. Right? You might not be able to match my energy, but you can definitely give them more time, right? You might have resources. Maybe you're a leader who is able to reinvest in a team. Maybe you're able to double their fast starts for a month or two. Maybe you're able to invest resources, or maybe it's knowledge that you can invest. Maybe you have training or understanding or coaching or something that you can offer that nobody else can in the same way. So you need to get clear on why everyone should be joining with you, everyone in the entire world. I believe everyone in doTERRA in the whole world should be joining with me. That doesn't mean that all of you aren't amazing. Like, everyone should be joining with you too. And you just need to get clear on why that is. And if you're clear on that, then you're going to attract people like crazy, right? So for me, one of the reasons why I feel like people should join with me is because I have this big vision, and it's something that's free. It doesn't cost anything for you to acquire, and it doesn't cost anything for you to pass along. It's free. It's free, right? It's just a big vision. So, up your belief in what, and your vision of what you're planning to create in doTERRA. Like, I have wild, crazy, absurd goals. Um, and that's what ignites me. I wake up every day excited to go to work and get in front of my laptop, or get in front of my phone, or talk to people for hours on end, because I have a really big vision. I have a really big dream of what's possible. So, yeah.
Love that. And Paul, what if we bring you on? Any last questions for Matt? Hop them in the chat, and we'll start transitioning right now to Indonesia and what you can know about all of this. Paul and Vanessa, you've been building there for a while. And again, Matt, feel free to pipe in. Others, drop it in the chat. But give us a vision, Paul, for what's available in Indonesia.
Oh, just hang on. Can we just say, Matt, holy heck. I mean, we're both ready to join you, brother. That was incredible. That was such an incredible, transmission of how far vision takes us all, right? And such an apt reminder. So anyway, thanks.
Yeah,
You've just pumped us full of good juju.
I was the one asking for the brain transfusion. So, it's funny, right? We've been here 11 years. We got to Presidential Diamond in 2015, so a decade ago, and I just felt like I got schooled.
Yeah.
So,
did too.
it's which is awesome, because it just shows you how much more potential there is that's out there if you're willing to go to work. If you want to show up and do what Matt says, if you want to network, then there's just so much potential to come. So yeah, we've been doing this up there. We're kind of some of those crazy people. I hear about these sort of mad people who just start out building in South Africa 8 years before it's ready to open, and all those kind of things. So we're the ones that have been doing this and having fun, but lots of reasons, right? But for us in Western Australia, Indonesia is about a 4-hour flight away. So for you, most of the rest of you, this is like a long way away, and it's probably a bucket list destination to go to Bali for a holiday or something like that. But for us, it's kind of like where everyone goes. So it's like you guys in the States go to Mexico, and everyone in Australia goes to Bali, right? So we know this place. My brother's wife is Balinese. They've been married 17 years. Our nieces, beautiful young girls, Apsari and Rafania, are Balinese. So we have a connection. And we did exactly what Matt said. So I feel like at least we did some of the things right in our process with Indonesia. We got passionate about Indonesia. We went and met people. We made friends with people. We made friends in Australia with someone that was from Indonesia and has been here since she came here to go to university. And she's been here for 20 something years and, created her family here and hardly ever been back to Indonesia, but has a big vision to help her Indonesian country, prosper and get out of all the challenges that Matt was talking about, like respiratory disease and diabetes and all the things that come from these developing nations that from their diet and the pollution and the overpopulation and all the things. So we've been up there, I think, 13 times in the last 18 months. So we've been going pretty regularly for about 10 days each time. We have met a lot of people. Our team there is just sort of shy of 1,000 people. We have 1 gold, 1 silver, 5 premiers and 20 elites in Indonesia, and obviously all the team that kind of come underneath of that. And we've been doing it the hard way with shipping product in from Australia. And anyone who's opened a different market would know that when you go into these places at the start, it's not for the faint of heart, right? But we've made some great inroads. We've been partnering lately with some great leaders like Natalie and Andy, Melody, Matt, Sergey. So we've kind of partnered with a bunch of different leaders who have been working with corporate to be able to find a way to make this easier. Because what we got excited about, and I did my research like Matt suggested at the very beginning, and I found out really early on that Indonesia has 283 million people living in it. It's the 4th largest population on Earth. It's the size, population-wise, of North America. It has a 60 million growing wealthy middle class, 60 million people in the wealthy middle class in that country. But it's still developing, and they are pumped for entrepreneurialism. They are just really excited for an opportunity to just bust out of what has been, for many of them, it's been generational poverty. And whatever someone kind of starts out with a little cart on the street making porridge for breakfast for the locals, and then the son inherits the cart, and the son's son inherits the cart, and the son's son's son inherits the cart. And that's life in a lot of these countries, right? But it takes a little bit of time to get to know them and to connect with them. But then they have this kind of feeling like, maybe I could break out of the porridge cart. Maybe there's something else, and this could be it. And that's what we've been doing. So that's been exciting. Natalie, are we kind of up for sharing what we've been partnering with corporate on and tell them so we can let the cat out?
All the details. Do you want me to share the events or anything here?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
So we've got some events coming. So we're going to let the cat out of the bag a little bit here. We've been partnering and leaning hard on our corporate people that we love and adore. And I think, they kind of needed to know how much we all wanted Indonesia to fly before they would back us. But they've done something that, to my knowledge, I don't think they've ever actually done in previously in how they've supported the opening of a market. Natalie is probably the one that could share whether that's true or not. But to my knowledge,
Totally.
they've definitely
Never seen it.
So normally when you open a new market, it's kind of like global access, right? You enroll them in the States through global access, and it goes from a freight forwarder from the States to wherever the country is. And there's a second layer of shipping and cost, and the time and delays is, often huge, and it just kind of makes it a clunky, difficult, challenging thing. We were kind of given some guidance around Indonesia being like the middle of nowhere as far as global access was concerned, and even that would not work. So we had to find a way around that. So we kind of started out by bootlegging the product in there ourselves, like a lot of people do. And, when you're going on a holiday to Bali, but you're dragging 11 suitcases, it looks a bit funny eventually. So we had to start finding shipping partners and doing those kind of things. But, and that's worked for kind of a certain amount of time, but it's now gotten to the point where the growth is not sustainable for us to support it like that. And it's kind of like we've had to work out something with corporate. So we've leaned into the beautiful people that Natalie and Andy as our uplines are, and kind of asked them for guidance and advice with this as to how we can come about a different solution. And corporate have been amazing. They've actually come on board And instead of the GAC model, they have allowed us to ship from, and if you don't know the geography, you've got to kind of have a look at the map, right? Because Indonesia is a string of 27,000 islands, Java being the largest of them. But it stretches from, it nearly touches Singapore to the middle of Australia. It's so long, it's huge. Like you can fly around Indonesia for 4 or 5 hours at a time and only have gone halfway across it. So it's massive. But right by Singapore is where Indonesia starts. So corporate has agreed to start shipping product for us out of the Singapore warehouse there through some local shipping partners. So we can get that kind of happening. It's kind of a couple of weeks to get the product into someone's hands instead of what we've been experiencing here, which has been at best kind of 4 or 5 weeks and at worst like
6 to 8.
8,
is
10
where we're at
weeks.
now.
And, you know, God love these people who have been patient with us to kind of, you know, wait that long for their product. And meanwhile, some of these people have had to put in a second or even a third order before their first one arrives, right? So crazy, but it's still worked, which tells you the power of that vision casting that Matt's talking about and telling people what, you know, what's going to happen in their lives, what's going to change in their health, and starting to share testimonials and all those kind of things. So we actually have a document that we can copy. I think I can just copy and try and put it straight into the chat here. And let's see if this works for you guys, that has been shared to us by corporate.
We've got it here as well.
Okay. So you guys can get into that. But basically what we have is a hard target from doTERRA corporate and the board to when we can launch Indonesia. So at the moment we have about 105,000 in monthly sales volume coming out of Indonesia. And they're happy to launch the market and open it at 300,000, which is why you're on this call. And we want to invite you in as partners to join with us. Natalie, you just unmuted. Do you want to chime in?
I just love the power that's happening. You guys have done so much heavy lifting up until now, and you've been doing so much on your own. And now being able to come in together, we can reach that number so quickly. So I'm so grateful.
Yeah, look, you know, there's 80 odd people on this call, and you know, like we've got a gap of 190,000 volume. If we divide it by 81, it's not much, right?
So corporate are going to chip in with us to help out with shipping. So shipping's estimated around 15 USD. So we're going, and that's with third-party shippers from Singapore. So how it needs to work, you guys, is it needs to go to different parts, right, in Indonesia. So they'll have like an entry point there, and then that will be disseminated to your customers and to your leaders. So there's 3 main parts at the moment where we're going through. So it's not, so the products, don't worry about what's available in Indonesia just yet. Look at what's available in Singapore. That's where we're starting. And what we'll do once you join the WhatsApp group, we'll send you what BPOM, which is like the FDA and TGA here in Australia, has already registered, and there's still more coming through. So they'll be going for the VMG Plus and the Omegas rather than LLV. So back to shipping. So shipping's around 15 USD each. So basically we're going to split it 3 ways. Corporate's putting in $5. We as leaders will put in 5, and then the customer or the leader will put in the other $5. So we'll have those shipping subsidies for Diamond Plus leaders through to November. This is now the Diamond teams to receive this shipping subsidy must have a minimum of 5,000 OV in Indonesia. They're all qualified 100 PV plus orders to receive the subsidy, and this will be calculated at the end of each month for corporate to assist. Corporate are also assisting with events. So we've been running leader-led events, and we've all just been paying like we normally do for the venues, etc. So now what will be happening is corporate will be putting in, was it 2,000 USD per month. Now,
Can I interject one thing on shipping as well? So we're looking at taking down some of those barriers, but just so you know that that 5,000 OV, that could be, you know, your main line to Justin. That could be
exactly.
So
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that minimum. You just have to show up and help them get that 100 PV order, and then you'll have that subsidy.
Yeah, and
exactly.
Trying
if
to
you have
get,
an upline diamond that
yep,
wants to play in the market
Yeah,
with you, and just go to your upline diamond or above and say,
totally.
hey, I want to play in Indonesia. Can you help me get this shipping subsidy? Then,
Yeah,
just let's get the volume and let's get it happening.
yeah,
Sure.
exactly. So so basically what's happening now, so we're all members, existing members there will be transferred to Singapore that aren't already in Singapore, and then all orders will be placed directly, and they have a team there ready to be placing orders and helping that over the coming months. So we basically have until the end of November this year to achieve this goal. Talk about huge vision. So something that's really important with Indonesia is we are working together to break free from the molds of poverty, of finances, and health. It's huge there. So they have huge health concerns and they have massive concerns around finances and thriving. So, in order for us to come together and really serve the people of Indonesia, we need to put them first. We have to. So serving them in the way that Matt talked about with product, helping them to understand the product, giving them really simple, duplicable ways to teach that product and transmit that, and giving them a vision to help people to grow together is hugely important. And then a massive bonus. Can we talk about the bonus, Nat, for golds? Okay.
yeah,
So the
do
big
it.
bonus, the big bonus that we're so excited about is any Indonesian leader, so
This is
anyone that
pre-founded,
we have here, so
pre-founded.
like imagine this like a soft launch or pre-launch, right? Before our big launch, before founders, but we want to do something to help give them extra incentives. So basically any Indonesian leader who reaches a gold rank 3 times with 90% qualifying Indonesian volume between now and the end of November will receive a $2,000 bonus. Now, 1,000 of that is going to come from doTERRA corporate. Thank you, so generous. And then the other 1,000 is going to come from us as the leaders. So whoever your upline is. So for example, everyone in Team Alchemy, which is our team, so it's not Natalie and Andy putting in, we are going to be contributing that, even though we're in Natalie's downline, right? So we all come together to support this. But again, like Natalie said, just keep reaching up till you've got that diamond and above leader or someone to help get your skin in the game as well. Make sure you're contributing to make a huge difference. Sorry, I'm reading direct selling license. So Indo does have direct selling license set up. This is super exciting. I want you to understand that this $2,000 is more than most people earn in 6 months. You're looking at around 6 to 7 month income for a normal Indonesian on an average income to receive that money. So for them to receive this, it's actually huge. It may not sound like much to you, but it is huge for them. It can change so much of the way they live for them.
Yeah.
We're watching people who are on premier income and their lives have completely changed.
Yeah, we've got this powerful story. This lady that I first met on my first journey to Indonesia. She is a mum. She was a single mum because she'd been kind of cast out by her husband, who'd been treating her poorly and not doing the right thing in his marriage. But she was on her own with no income and no support. And she was working 50 hours a week with another direct selling company. And I said, how much are you making? She said, I make about $500 Australian per month, which is like 300 US. And I said, for 50 hours a week, I said, I promise you, if you join me, you'll be earning more than that very soon. And she, after, I think it was about 9 months, we had our first elite retreat, and there's about 15 of the team there. And she came to us and said, her and her sister were doing this together.
Yeah.
We owe you an apology. And I said, well, what do you have to apologize for? And she goes, well, when you said that we would be able to make more with you with doTERRA, we didn't really believe it was true. But
They thought it was a line.
that we didn't have any other options, so we decided to give it a go. And over there, the average kind of income is around that sort of 300 to 400 US dollars per month. But now they're earning, something like about $1,500 a month
They're
now.
silvers now.
And, that's game changing for them. And, we've got the text messages when she sent us the message to say, we've been able to put our children back into school now. They weren't in school because the husbands weren't providing.
Yeah.
And we can rent a nicer place, and we've got good food. That's kind of like what it's like when you're building with, but that's the difference you can make. We all kind of come from this position of, we've all got problems. Everyone's got problems, but those kind of problems give you perspective on your problems.
So there's a question here around what is the average income in Indonesia? Are you guys going from middle to upper class?
Yeah, so we looked at this as well. So and when I looked at this, actually, Matt might remember me cornering him at the Jordan presidential diamond trip, kind of hitting him up with some questions. And I think it was at the final dinner, because that was where they actually launched that Indonesia was coming. So I'm like, yep, I'm doing that. So I thought, I know Matt had a lot of success with Brazil. I did some research online already before that meeting, before that kind of trip. And I looked at Brazil with 217 million people. I looked at the average income there. I looked at the average income in Indonesia. Average income in Indonesia is about double monthly income of Brazil, but the population is greater. Now, we haven't targeted the middle class per se. I would say that most of our sharers and builders are in kind of the lower part or just under middle class. But that's where our connections and our networking took us.
Mm-hmm.
And in lots of ways, it's been such a blessing. And it's actually what's led us to have the passion for Indonesia, and to make sure that this effort that we're putting in, and we just wouldn't let it die. We had to kind of go to Natalie and Andy and go to corporate and say, hey, let's make this happen. We cannot let the fourth most populous nation in the world go without doTERRA. It's like, no, that's not happening. So, we had to kind of pull in a few big guns, and of course, no greater than Natalie and Andy to come in, and then Matt right behind them on their front line to support with all of his international expertise. And I think everyone's had that in spades and on tonight's call, and can see how amazing he is. I've got ideas kind of like pouring out of me already. I'm probably not going to go to sleep. It's like 11:17 p.m. And it's like, okay, I'm going to start getting on Facebook and going, who has a friend in Indonesia?
So there's a question here. Are they floating the monthly purchase while building, or it's a quick launch? It's a quick launch. That's what we're doing. We haven't really had to pull out any big guns because we want this to be duplicable. So we haven't been doing fast starts. We haven't been doing any of that. We've wanted them to see how you can just plant those seeds and help people grow with vision and purpose and heart. And we've really led that way, and helps them, I guess, to see and feel and experience doTERRA in another way, because they've experienced a lot of cutthroat type stuff and everyone out for themselves, and they've realized doTERRA is not like that, and we grow and we flourish together. So that's been really healing for a lot of them as well, and deepening their trust.
And I'll tell you something that's kind of, I don't know if this is even a good conversation to have, but some of my experience as we've been around the world with some of the other essential oil company advocates have not been necessarily positive. That same company has been in Indonesia for a long time, and when we go there, it's just not kind of adversarial. They're just open.
Yeah,
they're just totally open to the discussion. And our first leader on our very first visit to a city that is our biggest team actually was an existing advocate with another company for essential oils. So I'm talking in code here. I'm talking in code here, but you can all read between the lines. She just we just gave her an experience of the essential oils at our hotel, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I thought we had the best oils. And I'm like, well, I'm glad that you've come to that decision by yourself, because I don't have to say it out loud. So she joined, and she's a premier on our team. Our silvers are on her front line, actually. So that's the sisters who had that powerful story. They are the poorest in our team, I would suggest, or were, and yet they've made the greatest waves. It's like, when you've got the biggest why, you can move anything, right? And our team there is amazing. They remind us often. They say, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain, right? They tell us all the time.
Yeah.
And these sisters were them. That was those people who said, like, this is kind of our story now. So they've got a really powerful reason why, and we're excited for the Indonesia market. We think it's going to be one of the hugest ones. When I look at last month, I think we've got the launch in Kazakhstan. I had to quickly Google and see what's the population of Kazakhstan. It's like 20 million people. I'm like, Indonesia, 283 million people. Got to get after it.
So you guys, in terms of launching, you've asked about launches. I mean, elite retreats work really well there. They love community, they love coming together, they love the idea of gratis, which is free. They like things given to them as long as they've earned it. Well, they like it without that too, but we make sure they earn it, right? So just set targets, set reasonable targets for them so that they don't end up feeling deflated. Get those targets out there that maybe are just feeling really good for you and for them. And, rent a villa and do elite retreats. They work so well there, super well. Be doing classes. So classes in homes are not so big there. People don't have other people in their homes. And that's a mixture of shame, sizing of homes. They have kids at homes. They have their elderly in homes. So there's lots of reasons. So basically, you want to make sure that you are set up in cafes like Starbucks, for instance. That's a huge one there. All of the big Starbuckses have meeting rooms that you rent, and food is huge in the Indonesian culture. So there needs to be food, drinks at everything you do, some sort of free drinks at least. But there needs to be that kind of whole mentality there for them.
But it's
Share-
cheap, guys.
it
You want to
is.
have a green juice like Matt's massive jar of green juice, which is probably the Terra Greens in his like massive jar right there. That's like $1.
Yeah.
Wow.
So these events that we have here are already set up, and you can send anyone you like to these events. We have Sergey that will be there. There'll be others, but see the ones in the box here, Share Success Indonesia. We will be there. Andy and Natalie will be there. Matt, I think you'll be there for all of them. I think that's right. So Bandung is on the Isle of Java with Jakarta, which is the capital city there. And then Bali is not even considered Indonesian to the Indonesians. It's a bit of a joke because so many tourists go there, but that will be doing Bali as well, which is where the PD trip will be in Nusa Dua, I believe.
So, Jenny, to your question, do we do a lot of online classes? So we've been going there and kind of, I guess, teaching the model of in-person events and in-person classes and experiencing essential oils. But actually, we also do weekly online classes. So we do an online class and we do an online business introduction call every single week. And actually the team themselves, so that's in English and translated with one of our kind of stars into Bahasa. But there's also calls every single Tuesday and every Friday evening in Bahasa held by our local leaders that are all local Indonesian speaking. So those ones, they've already kind of taken that and they're running that with that themselves. So all we do is kind of lend them the Zoom portal and they do what they do best.
Yeah. Vera, why don't they meet in their homes? Mostly because of the size of their homes. Homes are multi-generational. They have the people they're caring for, children, and sometimes it's shame. Their homes are tiny, or they just don't feel comfortable, or they don't feel safe. We have a huge percentage of Muslims there as well, so it's just not even allowed for that. But it's multi-faith there as well. So anyway, it can be Starbucks, it can be any cafe, it can be, it can be the meeting room in the hotel you're staying in. It really doesn't matter how you do this, but just make sure you have, you break bread together, you drink together, and you get down on their level and you speak with them. And I also recommend you speak clearly and slowly.
Interestingly,
give them time to understand what you're saying. I know that sounds obvious, but I've been to a presentation that others have done and they were just left bewildered. No one signed up because it was just too far out of their league. I remember doing this in the Middle East with Adam and they just couldn't understand it. They didn't bother to say, are you understanding this okay? So just really connect with them. They're such a beautiful, beautiful people. They've got the big hearts and they're a beautiful community of people. I think you'll love it.
Yeah. Every single cafe and restaurant there has like private rooms, small rooms as well, that you can kind of hire for really nothing. You've just got to sort of spend,
Minimum on
spend
food,
$30 on food kind of thing,
Yeah.
or drinks or whatever it is. So that's kind of how we've been doing that. Um,
To Melody's
and
question, was it the
The
first
gold.
10 to gold, or
Yeah.
did they drop the limit? I can't remember.
Well, it was 10, but then it
It is,
says
yeah.
here, Natalie,
Yeah.
this bonus is not limited to the 10 required.
No.
What?
Yeah.
What? It doesn't make sense. As far as we know, it's 10. I'll let you know if that changes, but we know it is 10. And yeah, is that right?
I
Nat?
believe that they were opening it up. They said anybody that hits that, they will give that bonus to. And we
Great.
as leaders, of course, are coming to the table. I love that they're setting this up like a diamond club type experience, right? We know we get so much power when we're invested and corporate is invested. That's what works.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's a skin in the game kind of arrangement. They've come to the party with shipping and said, right, the customer can pay a third, the leader can pay a third, and we'll pay a third, which to my knowledge, they've never done in helping open another international market before. It's kind of like you get it in there, and then when the volume reaches a certain target, we'll open. We also just in the last week had board approval that when we reach this 300,000 volume target in November, they're committed to open the market. So kind of unlike the history where it's like, when will we open? It'll be in 2018 quarter 2, and then it'll be 2019 quarter 1, and then 2020 quarter 4, and that can kind of how these things go, right? And not all of that's, it's not necessarily doTERRA fault. I mean, a lot of this is like working with other jurisdictions and other, authorities can sometimes be really slow and painful. But doTERRA's worked through all that. They've kind of got all their ducks in a row. They've registered more than 30 products with BPOM already, so we have all of our top 10, our home essentials, the family essentials, or family physicians, I think it's called in the States.
Simple solutions.
Ice Blue Rub, On Guard toothpaste. They've got some
Well,
skincare
simply
things in
put
registration.
in the WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Matthias, you were asking, is it more women's or men's business in Indonesia? It's really interesting. I mean, we have a lot of women in our team, but a lot of men put their hand up. We have a lot of men. Like I freak out, to be honest with you, at how many men put their hand up for this. It's great. So we have a good mix. Yeah, so Matt's saying if 20 people on this call each build 1 silver by the end of the summer, we'll hit the 300K metric corporate's looking for us to be able to launch the market in 2026 and build something massive. Amen.
It's like
absolutely
divide and conquer, right, guys? Yeah. And, the great part about it is that the first part of this call, even if you really don't know anybody, you just got the blueprint on how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, if you don't know someone, check in your friends on your socials if someone there knows someone. If no one there knows someone, go to your team. That's step 2, right? That's the second part of the homework. See if your team knows someone. So I was listening, Matt, so I'm ready to go to work.
So you guys, this is your invitation to get big, to make a difference, create waves of change in Indonesia. This will be a country and a people that will touch and bless your hearts and your lives unlike anything you've ever seen before. They are the most beautiful, big-hearted people, and they are ready and waiting for people like you to change and bless their lives. So let's do it. Let's do it as a family. Let's do it together as a community. And, keep holding that incredible torch that Nandy and Natalie have imparted to all of us in the way that they lead and the way that they build. Let us all continue with that mantle, because honestly, we are servant-hearted and minded, and this is the way to help doTERRA Indonesia to grow and be blessed.
And above in the chat, there's a WhatsApp group. I think Natalie put the link in there to join for Indonesia. If you want to ask any questions, we're already in there, so we can kind of answer any questions there. I know Matt's in there. I know Natalie and Andy are in there. Melody on this call is already in there that I know of. So jump in there and just hit us up with your questions after the call, and we can kind of we would be so happy to share everything that we've learned about the country so far and building there. Because if we can kind of pave the road and make it easier for it to launch there, then the rising tide floats all boats, right? So we're all going to win together.
It's so true. Thank you, thank you, thank you for what you're bringing to the table. Paul and Vanessa, your experience there has been incredible and so useful. And I love that doTERRA this is the official pre-launch. They are giving us the go ahead, and they only need 30 days to put everything in place once we hit that metric. So we are gas pedal down. And
Yes.
as we do that, I think this is going to be a big opening in Southeast Asia and expand beyond that. Love those steps that you gave us, Matt. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of you. Look at us. We like nailed it on the timing.
Great.
And we trust this process. The timing of everything that's happening is happening for a reason. doTERRA, the world needs doTERRA. And I have some leaders that have said, I'm not going to build internationally. And I actually get a little sad or choked up when I hear that, because there is so many people with so much of a need. And what a gift that we have in our hands. What an opportunity to share it. And I hope you can come back to these ideas that were shared here today. Matt, precious recording. Thank you so much for infusing us with that belief and energy. So, so powerful. Come into that WhatsApp group. You can get the recording there. It'll be amazing. And all of doTERRA is going there. This is not a Natalie and Andy thing, right? All of doTERRA, we're coming together. We are the doTERRA family. And so anyone, anywhere in doTERRA, we want to team up with, we will help, we'll do this right. Paul and Vanessa, thanks for bringing your vision, your insight. Indonesia is happening, and we're so excited to do it with you. And wherever you feel called to build or go, do it. Live your purpose, whatever that is. There are people waiting for you. May their prayers get answered, and may you have so much joy in the process.
And build internationally. You don't have a clue of what that will do to your business if you build internationally. It will take your business to places you can't even imagine if you've got international build going on.
That's coming
So
from
true,
James that
James.
just got back from Kazakhstan, right?
Yeah.
Hi,
Yep. But
shout it
like,
out.
use Matt's
Amazing.
philosophy, and in all your building, and especially get that international market going, man. It's massive.
You know, one thing we saw here, Natalie, during the kind of the pandemic situation, Australia was the most locked down place on earth. Like, we were stopped from moving out of our city for 2 years. Couldn't move around the country, couldn't go in the country, couldn't go out of the country, couldn't even change states in the country. And what that taught me was having a doTERRA business that is one country centric is not a good idea. Actually, diversifying a little bit and having some protection against what one jurisdiction or another might do is a really wise thing. So as your business gets big and you want to protect, what you've created and all the teams that you're supporting and all of those builders and people that are relying, kind of on the path that you've laid down before them, I feel like diversifying is kind of a critical path once you get past that sort of maybe the blue diamond level, perhaps, where you can start to invest in these kind of other jurisdictions is a really, really wise thing, I think, to be doing just from a business standpoint. Notwithstanding the fact that when you go there, you realize that doTERRA is a passport to the rest of the world, and the people that you'll bless and the friendships you'll create and the people that will be like family to you, you can't even count them.
Yeah.
It's so true. You can't imagine that you would know someone or be able to expand in that way. But in truth, after you have that experience, you can't imagine life any other way. So the sweetness that you guys have invited into your life, that each of you that has chosen this path, like, if you haven't gone there yet, go there. There is stretch for sure. And it's so worth it because of the reception and the way they receive it and the gift that it is to them. They're waiting for you. Let's go out and share the love.
They are. Yes. Let's bless the world, you guys. See you in Indonesia, everyone. Thanks, Matt. Thanks,
Thank
Nat.
you. Be with
Bye,
you
everyone.
soon.
Thank you.